We're back.
With another edition of NSR Wrestling.
Thank the Lord. I know you're thinking that. All 5 of you that listen to us.
You've needed our guidance, and you've been without it for so long.
We're sorry. A lot to talk about. Do you want to dip into the Raw?
Yeah, we'll get to that. We are the ones to tell you that 1 + 1 makes 3.
Mm-hmm. See?
Basically, what we're going to be doing today, we're going to be talking about the 20th anniversary of Raw, which was, in my opinion, a travesty.
Why did they do this?
I don't really know what they were trying to do, and then also we'll be getting into the current state of TNA wrestling. I know the State of the Union is supposed to take place in a couple of weeks. Right now, after we talk about WWE, we're going to be getting into the state of TNA, where it can go, more importantly, where we are right now and how we need to get out of here as fast as possible.
Absolutely.
But going to the 20th anniversary of Raw, if this is where you're going to showcase 20 years of what's happened on your show, all of your big moments, how do you not have all of your people that are under contract not appear that made so much of your success?
That's what I don't get. They're so sloppy with these things.
Notable names that did not make an appearance at the 20th anniversary of Raw. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Shawn Michaels. Now, granted, I understand. Shawn Michaels and Steve Austin had a previous commitment. They were both at a gun show to promote their hunting thing. More power to them, that's fine. But they really should have thought about this and negotiating their contracts, and WWE really should have made it a point to be like, look, Michaels, my God, you were on the first episode of Raw. We need you to be here 20 years later, if at all possible. Not there. I'm quite mad because I was misled by a report online that said, oh, it's the 20th anniversary of Raw. The Undertaker will be making an appearance to set up his WrestleMania feud. Yeah, that didn't happen. I wasted 3 hours of my life on this shit. I'm texting my friends. I'm like, he's not there yet. 2 hours later, no Taker yet? Fuck you.
Wow.
So, no Undertaker. No explanation why, unless he's going to be feuding with CM Punk, but we'll get into that later. No Triple H.
Jeez.
You showed video packages of both members of DX. That doesn't count as me getting to see Shawn Michaels.
You saw them on VHS.
By the way, this took place in Texas, by the way, this whole episode of Raw. Shawn Michaels is from Texas. Steve Austin is from Texas. The Undertaker is from Texas. None of them on the show.
There's no one there.
So the fans in Houston, justifiably should be angry.
Was Ric Flair there?
Yeah, Ric Flair was there, but who cares?
Yeah, really,
he was more of a WCW guy. He was on, if you count the amount of times he was on Raw, it really wasn't that much. He was on there maybe a total of 5 years.
Yeah,
and who really remembers Ric Flair except for his Intercontinental title reign and then retiring?
What about,
The Rock showed up, Mick Foley showed up.
Yeah, but it's sloppy. Get everybody who don't do it.
JBL was there, Jim Ross, The King. But as far as your actual big talent, where was everyone? Where were these foundational building blocks? Bret Hart didn't appear. All these people that made Raw what it was, no one showed up.
They could have brought in Luger, Scott Hall.
You were having cameos back in the day. You were having Vader win matches over Heath Slater. You had Sid Vicious. You didn't bring back anyone. You didn't have Dusty Rhodes. You didn't have anyone.
Wow, that's sloppy.
And then let's get into the matches here.
I'm afraid to hear.
Show starts off. McMahon in the ring doing his thing. Big Show comes down, cuts him off.
Wow.
Heel Big Show, who apparently lost the title like a week and a half ago. Del Rio is a good guy. Why Del Rio is now a good guy, I have no idea. But he is. Del Rio is your new World Heavyweight Champion. They set up that for not SummerSlam, or Royal Rumble, who cares?
Yeah.
They have no match. Nothing happens. Ricardo Rodriguez was there. He's the most entertaining part of that segment because he's awesome.
I don't even know who these people are.
He's Del Rio's manager.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. Power Cable. But, yeah. Anyway, so that happened. Again, normal match length, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. The match has ended, but you know how, typically you'll be watching Raw, and, they'll be like, we'll see what happens after the commercial break. Well, none of those matches got to that point. Most of them ended well before that could even be a possibility.
How about that? What a surprise, huh?
Yeah, really. One of the big surprises, apparently, Wade Barrett lost 40 pounds for a movie role with Colin Farrell, and they didn't say anything about it. So he comes back to wrestling, and he's noticeably smaller than his opponent, Randy Orton. which is kind of weird because Orton lost all that weight, due to the wellness program and getting in better shape and whatnot, but it was just odd seeing a very small Wade Barrett. Even more surprising was seeing Wade Barrett defeat him cleanly. I don't know if this is a sign that they're not pushing Orton. I don't know if this means that they're looking at having him, lay in the weeds a little bit, similar to Daniel Bryan's losing streak before making him champion. I really don't know what it means. So that happened. They had a segment with Cesaro and The Miz, who just doesn't matter anymore. I can't stand him. The Miz and Ric Flair came out. They did a segment. The Miz did the figure 4 on Cesaro instead of Ric Flair. Flair looked like he didn't even really care to be there. He was just collecting a check. Didn't seem like his normal self. Elbow dropped his coat a few times. But, I just really think the fans were expecting more. Sheamus actually lost a match to 3MB, who I wasn't really familiar with at all until I figured out who they were. It's somebody named Jobber Mahal. Drew McIntyre in a hair metal band gimmick. I thought I was looking at Sebastian Bach from Skid Row, and I was wondering who the hell it was, and then I finally looked it up online, and it's Drew McIntyre.
Good lord.
And Heath Slater, as John Cena called him, the Wendy's girl, which he doesn't really look like, but people, rolled with it because it was Cena.
I don't even know who half these people are.
You're with me, man. I had to look up who Big E Langston was online because I'd never even heard of him before.
Who's Ginger Ale?
Think of a smaller version of Kama Mustafa who doesn't say anything, has no ability to even beat anybody up after they've been in a 30-minute match. Anyway.
Who's Ginger Ale?
Jobber Mahal.
Oh, Jobber Mahal.
Yeah, he's the Indian guy that was with Khali for a while, I guess.
Yeah, beats me.
Because WWE just associates everyone based on their ethnicity. You get thrown in a tag team whether you like it or not.
It's like, good lord.
Main event was Cena versus Ziggler in a steel cage. That was as to be expected.
That's just sloppy.
It was a typical Super Cena match. I give Ziggler credit. He tried. I really don't like him as a main eventer. But, Cena kicked out at 1.5 of a tornado DDT off the top rope. I thought he was dead. And he kicked out at 1.5. I'm like, well, the match should have been over right now. The move was epic. Cena won with a fireman's carry, whatever the hell you call it. I don't know his name anymore. Actually, AJ Lee's pants being so tight and her climbing the cage were really the only part of Raw I liked.
What is the point? Where did she come from?
Hey, I don't mind, man. It's like a leprechaun or the Easter Bunny or the Tooth Fairy. I don't care where they come from. I'm just glad that they're here.
Well, I guess fair enough.
She's not really entertaining. I don't really watch wrestling. They're like, oh, she's the best thing to happen to wrestling in years. If that's the case, you should probably just stop watching.
Well, did she start off as like a manager or something, or a referee, or how did she?
She started out as a female wrestler. Then they made her a general manager, and she basically just skipped around a lot. Like literally, that's what she's famous for: skipping.
There's too many of those girls there that just shouldn't be there.
Oh, Brodus Clay got destroyed by CM Punk in 4 minutes.
What's the point of him? Is he still doing that whatever?
Yep, yeah, he's still the Funkasaurus. And even the one announcer said, I don't get this. Brodus Clay is a monster. Why does he stop? He's JBL, actually. He was like, why doesn't he stop dancing and start actually using his weight and throwing his weight around and doing something?
Wow.
They're like, if he took wrestling half as seriously as he takes the Funkasaurus people, this would be a good show.
Go figure, huh?
Yeah. Oh, Batista wasn't at the show either.
Wow.
Don't know why I associated those two together, but basically Punk won with a diving elbow and the Anaconda Vice. Made him tap out, completely ruining Brodus Clay. Clay got in a couple of shoulder blocks and a couple of right hands. That's all he did.
How long is Raw now? 3 hours?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, don't remind me. I know.
There's probably no wrestling on there.
No! There isn't, and there was no Undertaker, and it ended with the Rock concert, and I'm not a Rock fan, I'll be honest, but he was entertaining. All he did was sing. And then he and Punk got in a brawl. All they did was show video package highlights from, the history of Raw, Austin and Tyson and whatnot.
When you wanted to watch it.
Yeah, but then it was, highly selective. They took a lot of people out. Angle wasn't in any of them.
All the TNA guys aren't on it.
Taker wasn't even in hardly any of them. And it's just if you're going to have all these video packages and not give me any wrestling, at least show me the stars that made Raw what it is. Yeah. Where are these people? How do you have a 20th anniversary show and have no one show up?
Yeah, that's
so
amazing.
That was the 20th failure of Raw. I had it. At one point, I actually took my portable DVD player and I started watching ECW One Night Stand as I had it on, but I kept the sound on, waiting for the Undertaker that never showed up.
Isn't that sad? It's like a kid waiting for a school bus that'll never come.
And Ryback did something. I really wasn't paying attention. I don't watch Ryback at all. I could care less. He can't wrestle.
Well, he's a new main eventer they're going to waste and not do anything with. Right?
Good. I hope they waste him. Get rid of him.
Yeah.
He sucks.
Goldberg.
Feed me talent.
Okay. Here's Terry Taylor. Wrestle him.
Yeah, really. But now we get on to the current state of affairs in TNA wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I really shouldn't say affair since we actually had a wedding
Little fair
over the weekend.
Yeah, what is up with this? Hogan has to come in and like promote his daughter to the moon. Now we all have to suffer for it.
We go from Bound for Glory with Hogan having minimal influence and thinking the product was going to be so good. We went from Slammiversary to the X pay-per-view to Bound for Glory, and we were like, oh my god, they're actually getting better. And here we are now.
What's the storyline-wise? This whole thing's just ruining. Most of it's not too bad.
You know what, though? I gotta say, a lot of it can't even be blamed on the storylines because the matches aren't living up to snuff either.
Well, they're going to wrap up Aces and Eights at Lockdown. That's going to be the end of that.
Okay, but then it will have been an even bigger waste of time.
Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I don't know what the grand scheme of things.
Chris, we're running out of time here. Lockdown is 2 months away, and they haven't revealed their leader.
Well, it's going to be Jared or Abyss. You can tell. I think it's Abyss. I can tell by the voice. It's Abyss. They just muffle it a little bit.
How can it be Abyss, though, if he spends all this time beating the hell out of like them? Or
maybe they're going to go for a whole new gimmick, a whole new character. He's not going to be this guy. He's not going to be Abyss. He's going to be whoever this new guy's going to be. Just the leader. I don't know.
Anyway, basically recapping the last pay-per-view, Hernandez and Chavo retained. How do you kill a crowd of 800 people, by the way?
How do you do that?
Chavo Guerrero.
Yeah, apparently.
I turned on Impact. His music hit. The crowd went silent.
Yeah.
Dead silent. I mean, you know people are apathetic about you when they don't even bother to boo you or go buy merchandise during your match.
I could tell, too, like, Bound for Glory, that when him and Hernandez won, they're like, boo.
And they kept the camera on them too long. They're like, we're done with this.
Yeah.
So, yeah. They retained Kenny King, or not Kenny King, Christian York, who is apparently famous only for losing matches now.
Yeah, that's a shame. Come on, man. Give him some wins.
Well, no, he beat Kenny King at the pay-per-view.
Thank God. So is he like
No. They made the match immediately following a 15-minute match with Kenny King. Okay, go fight Rob Van Dam.
Yeah, good luck.
Okay, he lost, obviously.
See, that doesn't help this guy. They're doing everything to hurt this guy.
So, yeah, just fast forward real quick to this week. Now Kenny King beat Christian York. So Christian York's record in TNA now stands at 2-9.
Yeah, it's bad.
Well, I mean, he's only a little bit behind. He's only 3 or 4 games back of Aces and Eights.
Oh, my God.
Rim shot. But, nothing much else happened at the pay-per-view. Sting beat Doc as to be expected. Devon beat Joseph Park because, of course, a wrestler should beat a lawyer. That only makes sense.
Most of the time, right?
Samoa Joe lost to Anderson in a match absolutely no one cared about. They followed that up on Impact by not even having Mr. Anderson on the show.
I didn't even know that Samoa Joe wrestled. He wrestled Anderson. I had no idea.
Yeah,
why?
They added it to the show randomly because apparently there's that whole part where Anderson's supposed to be part of Aces and Eights, but they keep forgetting about it.
Yeah, they're like so half-assed with it. He like shows up whenever he's off. Oh yeah, I'll come back, Phil. What? I mean, when did he start getting involved with them?
Well, apparently Aces and Eights has a very, very detailed background and verification process because he hasn't even been near them. They're like, we need you to do something for us, and he doesn't do a damn thing except drink their beer and sleep with their women.
Yeah, when the hell did he join them?
He didn't officially. That's the biggest problem. It's like, this is the slowest heel turn I've ever seen, except for Randy Orton's, by the way. Randy Orton's heel turn so far has consisted of him refusing to punch someone in the head and not accepting a hug from Kane and Daniel Bryan. How is that turning into a heel?
I don't know.
But anyway, yeah, back to TNA. Hardy is still world champion, goddamn you. I don't necessarily object to Jeff Hardy. I just object to the idea of Jeff Hardy being Super Cena.
Exactly.
RVD's still X Division champion. None of the titles changed, by the way. Devon's still TV champion. I don't even think he's defended it in a while.
Yeah, there's really no need for the Genesis pay-per-view.
Kurt Angle, I believe, is hurt. I don't know.
They didn't even need to have Genesis. They should have went right to Lockdown.
So, I was always wondering, how do you take a person that is becoming one of your top stars, he's one of your top heels, you make him into one of your better faces even though he's better as a heel. I wonder how can you possibly ruin this guy? Brooke Hogan.
Yeah.
They took Bully Ray completely off TV except for a couple little segments and running in to save her. And now apparently they're getting married. So that brings us to the big extravaganza this week on TNA.
Yeah, I missed that, thank God.
This is the worst week in wrestling history for me, man. You don't understand. I watched 3 hours of Raw.
I tell you don't watch it. You don't listen to me. You don't listen.
You know why I didn't listen to me? Because the internet told me that The Undertaker was going to show up. And like a mark, one last time I wanted to see that son of a bitch because I'm not going to watch WrestleMania.
Don't get drawn into their lies.
So I watched 3 hours of Raw. Nothing I wanted to happen happened. Except AJ Lee, but that's different. Anyway. And then I watched 2 hours of Impact. And I wanted to beat my head against the wall. I saw Kenny King beat Christian York, who apparently they had no interest in pushing. I don't know. I think Joe did something in the beginning of the show. I really don't remember. There was a very forgettable knockouts match that Velvet Sky won. Terrence Royal's never forgettable, but other than that...
Yeah, I'd like to see her as the world champion. I think she could do that. I don't know why they brought... I mean, she's going to be the ref for a while, but she's definitely going to get involved, I think, in some of the feuds.
I think she'd be a better world champ than Jeff Hardy, to be honest with you.
Geez, anybody would be, I think.
Less of a girl.
Oh, my God.
But, clouding the number one contender situation further, there was a number one contenders match, impromptu, at Genesis, where Christopher Daniels, thank God, defeated James Storm.
Thank the Lord.
So now Hardy's previous two opponents, Aries and Bobby Roode, well, now they're kind of like teaming up.
Yeah, I don't get that one.
And the whole reason I'm complaining about this wedding segment was it wasn't a quick 10-15 minute thing. It was 45 minutes long.
Jeez. Too long.
And it actually started at 9:25 with with Aries and Rude complaining about them not getting booked. And then they got confronted by Chavo and Hernandez. So, let me get this straight. The two best wrestlers in TNA over the last year, the two most memorable champions, are now a tag team. And they're now going to be feuding with a tag team champion that no one cares about. So they interrupted the pre-wedding for that. We didn't even get to the wedding yet. The priest wasn't in the ring. No one was in the ring yet. Then we had to watch Bully Ray. Tommy Dreamer, who apparently is working for 3 different companies. If you're listening, other companies, fire him. Yeah, he violated his contract, get rid of him.
Does he have a contract? What's going on?
I don't know.
I don't know if people just randomly showing up places.
Oh, Spike Dudley showed up. That was actually the highlight of the show. He was one of the groomsmen, and so was Taz. We'll get to that later. And Bully Ray comes down. Hogan decides to walk his daughter down the aisle. Blah, 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 blah. They go to get married. This takes 35 minutes, by the way.
Jeez.
Right before the vows, Taz interrupts Bully Ray and says, whoa, 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 whoa. Are you sure you want to do this? Bully goes, why, what are you talking about? I'm expecting it to be some stupid thing like he cheated on her during the bachelor party and whatnot. Taz goes, hang on a sec, it's getting a little hot in here. And he takes off his jacket. And he's wearing a wedding vest underneath. But on the back it says Aces and Eights.
Nice.
And then Hogan, the most feeble old man ever that I want sounding an alarm, in a ring full of 50-year-old guys that can't really move around that much, and his heavy daughter in a wedding dress. Of them, Spike Dudley is the only one at all prepared to run away if shit goes down. Hogan goes, oh God, it's a setup, get out of here. Well, he's not getting anywhere. Bully Ray, by the time he processes what you say to him, he's not getting anywhere. Tommy Dreamer's just collecting a paycheck. He's not getting anywhere. He's hoping he'll give you $5 extra for bruising him up a little bit. So Aces and Eights comes down and just beats the shit out of the entire wedding party.
Will this get Taz off the microphone, hopefully, for a long time?
You know what? Yeah, because
Thank God.
I think so, because what's been happening is...
Well, they brought Todd Kennelly in.
Well,
Thank God.
No, earlier in the show, Taz goes, excuse me, guys, I gotta go do something. They thought he meant gut check. But he stayed away, and Todd's like, hey, I wonder what Taz is.
Well, it's part of the show, but this is great to get him off the mic. Please get him off the mic forever.
And I like Todd a lot better, honestly.
Oh, thank God. So, anybody's better. Even Jeremy Borash was better than him.
No.
I liked him better.
I can't say that. But, so yeah, Taz and Aces and Eights attack. Devon takes the wedding podium, which apparently doesn't weigh very much, and just cracks Bully Ray right in the head with it.
Wow.
And Hogan's on the ground, and he's reaching out with his hand all feebly. He's like, go check on Bully. Go check on Bully, and then it ends.
What's Taz going to do for them besides be a manager? He can't wrestle.
So what though?
I'm just glad
I'd rather see Taz as a manager,
Yeah,
because he fits in more than like Garrett Bischoff or these other people.
Well, yeah, and for some reason he thinks he has to do this stupid persona where he has to be funny and adorable. You're Taz. You like murdered people.
Well,
in
he
ECW.
can be funny, but Taz's problem is when he's funny, he has to curse. He can't be funny without it.
Well, it's just awful. Like, he's just such a horrible announcer. Whoever let him get on the mic they should be fired.
But well, that was Vince McMahon.
Yeah,
so
fire
Vince McMahon by all means.
Taz ruined SmackDown for years.
So here we are in TNA. We have relatively stable world champions. Okay, maybe stable's the wrong word to use with Jeff Hardy. By the way, he came out wearing what looked suspiciously like... None of you guys probably know what this is unless your girlfriend's really into this stuff.
I know, I'm just kidding.
No, I'd hope not. You know those sweatsuits, the really like velvety ones they sell at like Victoria's Secret?
Yeah.
The juicy ones. That's the brand name.
Juicy Couture.
They're not. Yes, that. For no explainable reason, Jeff Hardy's new hoodie that he came out wearing was pink and fuzzy.
Nice.
And had a white cross on the chest.
So he borrowed his girlfriend's before he went on the air. Hold on. I forgot my jacket. Can I wear it?
It has his name. I believe it has his symbol on it.
Oh my god.
So the worst part, and it fit him. And he's not a large man, but he's also not a very small man, so I doubt that he borrowed it from anyone, and that's the scary part. So, yeah, that, anyway, is Jeff Hardy. But, so right now we have RVD, he's been X Division champ since Bound for Glory. We have the tag team champs, same deal. Hardy, a little bit before then. Actually champ since, actually, didn't he win the belt at We Surrender? No, because he didn't fight Aries. He fought...
Who, Hardy?
Yeah.
He won the belt with Glory.
Glory.
Yeah.
No, did he?
Yeah, because remember...
Aries was champion, that's right. So he won the belt at Bound for Glory, and Devon's been champion for like 3 weeks.
Well, it's like all their champions are ex-WWE guys, you notice that?
Well, they are. So...
Except like Hernandez and like the women's...
And then as for number one contenders, here's what we have. We have Kenny King, who apparently now replacing Christian York, even though York gave RVD a much better match twice.
Of course.
RVD's already beaten Kenny King. I don't see the point of this. We have Chavo and Hernandez running virtually unopposed, except maybe for Rude and Aries, which you're wasting main event talent there, putting them up against the likes of those two.
Yeah, they got to bring some more tag teams in.
We have no discernible opponent for Devon, because who cares? It could be anyone.
Yeah.
We have Sting not doing much of anything.
The usual.
And we have Hardy with Christopher Daniels as a number one contender, which we are begging. Just based on the sake of everything that Christopher Daniels has done for wrestling in the last couple of years alone, for Christopher Daniels to win the belt next week.
Wouldn't it...
But we doubt that it's going to happen.
Would it behoove him to be the leader of Aces and Eights?
I don't really think he needs him.
He doesn't, but it would help.
But here's the problem, though. You can't change someone's gimmick so much from what they are, and then rush them into all of a sudden riding a motorcycle. Like, when you're coming down to the ring in Zubaz pants and drinking Appletinis, you don't fit in with Aces and Eights.
Well, here's a question, too. Like,
and Aces and Eights seem to have no interest in the world title. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, no, they're not interested. But it's like...
Why attack the company from the head? That's only the smart idea. Let's completely ignore that and just go after a bunch of old guys.
Yeah,
let's make sure Kurt Angle can't have a good wrestling match, because we're going to be wearing boots and we're going to be 400 pounds.
Absolutely. Well, here's a question. Why do you think they need to keep doing these group things? It's always like a group. NWO.
Bischoff.
I mean, they're so high on this.
Bischoff and Hogan always feel that that's what revolutionizes wrestling. And I'll be honest, to some extent they're right. Because DX, Evolution, there's always a group at some point, but eventually you have to get away from them.
It has to be like natural chemistry, too. Like, a lot of that was natural chemistry, like the Horsemen.
Well, I mean, even DX. Recently we had the Straight Edge Society, which I liked, because they were smaller. We had Nexus. They did the job.
So I think if the wrestlers kind of make the group, it works. If the writers kind of do it, it does. Because it's planned.
I mean, I can't say necessarily that Aces and Eights don't work on paper or in execution, but they lose way too many matches. That's the problem. It's like, okay, you remember when WCW came in during the invasion?
Yeah.
And they basically won every match because they had to make it look like, okay, we're a threat. We're taking your titles. we took your world title away. Aces and eights, it's like, we're going to be content to beat up your mid-carders with a hammer. Yeah, hold on to all these belts. Oh,
Yeah.
we'll take the one that used to be the Legends title, the global title, which is the same thing as a world title, and now the TV title. We'll take that off your hands, though. We'll hold on to that for you. You guys keep the tag titles, the X titles, the women's title, and the world title. We don't need any of that. We'll be over here.
Yeah,
We'll beat up Mr. Anderson, and you guys will thank us for taking him off TV. Then we'll kind of make it look like he's going to join us, even though no one cares about Mr. Anderson.
I hope the World Elite comes back to challenge Aces and Eights.
Where is Eric Young? Does anyone even care where Eric
Yeah,
Young
he's
is?
doing a fishing show on like
Again?
Yeah.
They picked that up for another season? I
Yeah.
watched it. It wasn't bad. There was one really funny episode where he was buying women's pantyhose, and they were looking at him really weird. And then he walked off with one of the legs.
Nice.
Obviously, it was staged.
Oh yeah. Well, another interesting thing about TNA now is the pay-per-view cut. Prices have gone up.
Prices have gone down.
Yeah, so it's give and take. See, here's a question: are they going to have Genesis every year, or is that just because
Every year.
Okay,
They're going to have it every year.
I wasn't sure if that was just because they just decided to cut it to 4 and that's the one they already planned, or
I think it's just because of the timing and what month it's in, honestly. Because
Yeah.
I think they have to feel they have an even amount of time between all of them. Like, because SummerSlam's Survivor Series, really the only two that are really close together are Survivor Series and the Rumble.
yeah, it's kind of close, but it works out.
Yeah, because, well, actually, though, if you think about it,
They're all kind
they're
of
all within
close.
2 to 3 months in
Yeah.
WWE, your big four. Even though they want to get rid of Survivor Series, but that's something else. So, I mean, I don't know. I think it honestly helps TNA, but I think it hurts TNA.
Yeah,
And for a couple of reasons. Now, the cheaper ones are going to be 7 like main event style pay-per-views, but they're going to be taped ahead of time. But they're
Yeah.
going to be different. They're going to be, gimmick matches and everything. I don't know how they're going to do continuity or storylines, though, because they've already filmed 2 of them for April and May. We're not going to ruin any of those for you because we actually want to see them firsthand instead of just reading what happened.
yeah, and so that's the problem too. I guess that's why they make them so cheap because most fans will probably already look at the results and know.
But here's the problem with that, though. I feel like enough people are going to be content not to order it,
Yeah.
and they're just going to read the results.
See, if this was
And
like
they're still capable of being streamed whenever they air. So no one is going to pay for them.
well, plus too, why they should just do a live one, where they're like,
But I think, in some ways it saves them money because they don't have to pay to get on pay-per-view. They don't have to pay
do
that
it live
fee
on
or
Spike,
whatnot.
do a live, like they used to do with the Clash of Champions, because it was pretty much you'd be watching a free pay-per-view.
I think honestly that would make them look better than
Yeah.
doing this because you have exposure, you have more people able to view it, and you haven't had a great. I mean, really, honestly, the last great match I remember on Impact was Angle and Kaz for the title. You remember that?
Oh my god, it was great.
I mean, we really haven't had that good 20-minute match in a while.
Give or take, you get some that are decent, but yeah,
But hardly, I mean, the main event, they cut down to 10 5 minutes.
I know.
So, I mean, I don't know. And then you can't involve the world title. I got to be honest, a lot of people won't order a pay-per-view that isn't for a world title.
That's the thing. A lot of people they want to see that world title match.
Or they want to see the big stars. Like, I mean, a lot of these are your mid-carders that, yeah, we love them, but not everyone else does.
Well, I mean, I think the format's to kind of help those guys out, like the mid carders.
And be more nostalgic and build them up, but
I don't know.
I mean, time is going to... It's
tough.
one of those things, we honestly can't prognosticate how that's going to go,
Yeah.
just based on how they're doing it. Now, we don't like them raising the price for Bound for Glory. I
No.
understand you got to make your money up somewhere, but you don't have the audience to support raising your prices that much.
I think you'll lose people. Really, they're like, I ain't paying $45
No,
for
it's
that.
not WWE where you're bringing back The Rock and you have The Undertaker and people will pay, $90 just to see that one last time.
Yeah,
You don't have that kind of attraction. You could tell me it's Hulk Hogan's last match. I don't even care. I'll purposely not order it because of that.
yeah, because every WWE pay per view is $45, which I think is insane.
And
right there.
but WWE has such a strength and such a domination in the marketplace that whatever they lose from streaming sites and everything, they literally don't care because they make it all up from their pay-per-view.
See, this is a whole other topic. I think sometimes should somebody be regulating Vince McMahon because he's dominating an industry?
Well, you can't though because it's an entertainment
Yeah,
thing,
that's the
and
problem.
he's not dominating the TV markets. They're still on cable. They're still able to do this just because they don't have the resources and they don't have the right booking.
That's always the problem.
That's not a competitive disadvantage. You can't You can't claim a monopoly because of that.
Well, this is what I don't understand either. The Jarretts had tons of money. Why didn't they just keep it within them? Why did they give it to this Dixie lady? I mean, it makes sense to spend her money, but she's running your company.
Yeah, but the other Jarrett's working for WWF, so how do you,
Yeah.
I mean, so, his money's not invested. He doesn't care.
It used to be, I think.
Well, he doesn't care now.
That's what you need. Like, whoever wants to run a company, you make sure you got the money and you own the damn thing and you can write it.
Dixie Carter is a business person, not that great. She has some good instincts about wrestling, I honestly do believe, because she's had some good ideas, but I don't think... And as an on-screen character, I like her.
Yeah.
But for managing the everyday necessities... Now, obviously, you can't have Hogan do it. They'll go out of business in a week.
I know.
You can't have Bischoff do it because he has no concept of money either.
Well, it's like a WCW problem where it's like the main person isn't a wrestling person in charge of a company. That's the problem. It's like, when will these people learn that you got to have someone that's a wrestling person owning a company? But, I still know if no one has the money...
Well, again,
to do it or what?
If Paul Heyman wasn't so burned out from ECW failing because of Spike,
if
he didn't distrust the network so much, if he didn't owe Vince McMahon all the money that Vince gave him, and if he truly cared about the wrestling at a point instead of just staying relevant, I think we would see Heyman in TNA. But I think Heyman right now would much rather be managing the most prestigious title in the world, CM Punk managing him, and kind of like when he was with Lesnar, and just be there. Just be that main guy, be able to stand next to him at Mania, be able to promote him throughout this long title reign, and just be part of the business, do your funny promos and everything, and get as far away from his ECW legacy as he can. He's proud of it, but he still failed.
Yeah. TNA needs a whole new marketing revamp, too. Because when we had a local show, we never heard one commercial on television.
We did, but they were always really blurry, and we would see, it would just be it would look like someone was filming it with a handy cam, and then it'd be like, see the wrestlers of TNA live.
So we saw, was it on their show? There wasn't, like, a local commercial to watch. I'm sorry, we didn't hear it, we saw it.
Well, I mean, I
they just had it on TNA, like their own, come see, us.
I would see it then, but I did see one or two local spots, but they weren't.
I never heard a radio spot. I never saw any signs.
I never heard a radio spot, no, I
never saw any local, news promotion or anything like that. Any local radio.
Kurt Angle was from Pittsburgh.
Yes, why isn't he doing something, on PCNC TV or on, 100.7 or B94 or whatever. Well, no, they're not around, but
you know what though? I do seem to remember Kurt Angle doing a very brief interview.